welcome back to the Stick 'em Up podcast. Brundi. We got a couple things to talk about here on the podcast today. But I know there is one thing that you are a little more excited about here. That most recent one that you've got in our Discord here. Do you want to kick us off by breaking the news?
I mean, we knew it was coming. Matt Rempe sent to the AHL. I mean, we knew it was coming.
Yeah, like
he's good at one thing, and that really doesn't contribute much to the success for the New York Rangers. So, I mean, call him up when you're playing, Washington or something like that if you want. But I mean, other than that, he really didn't do much for the team. So,
yeah, and it's a team that is so deep. Like Lafreniere has only been able to break out in the last year and a half now. Capo Caco's still struggling because they don't have room because they have so much depth. You can't tell me he should be pushing guys out on that squad. So
exactly right.
It makes a lot of sense. But he'll definitely be back up later in the year, I imagine, closer to the playoffs, and probably in the playoffs get a couple of looks. Just because he's a massive body and he can beat the crap out of people, but
that's the thing. He was so bad in the playoffs last year. Like every time he was out there was like, holy fuck! Like he was so far behind the play. It was moving so fast. He didn't even have time to go and hit guys. Like if he's not out there to just fight nonstop, it's like, what's the point of even having him? Like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have him in, like, at least other guy. Like he's a straight up fighter in the league, right? Like he doesn't provide much else, unfortunately, for the team, as much as the general hockey world loves him, as much as the Rangers fans love him. He doesn't provide shit aside from fighting. Yeah. And there's other guys that can fight, but can at least also do other things on the ice. Like Rempe, it's, he can go out there and within the first 2 minutes drop the gloves and fight. And then it's like, okay, fuck, now we're down to 11 forwards basically for the entire game. Because when he's out there, like, you notice him because he's so big and he's trying to, make stuff happen. But, when all these young, like, he's still a younger guy, but when you watch all these young guys in the league and, they're doing XYZ during the offseason to train, and the only thing you see of Rempe is, videos of him practicing his fighting. It's like, all right, well, like that's all he is. That's what he's known for. Good for him for making a name for himself, but he just doesn't provide value to the Rangers, really short term or long term. So
and
it's just the unfortunate part of it for him. But like that's. I mean, him doing what he did in fighting, it's the only reason he got a crack in the league and got to play the games that he did. So,
yeah, and he's, as much as we don't like him, Jacob Trouba,
Trouba, okay.
Trouba, at least a lot of people don't like him, but he can keep up with the play with his skating. He might get burned sometimes, but he can keep up. He is an NHL level skater. Rempe is borderline NHL skating at best, and that means it's very difficult for him to end up hitting a lot of guys, which would be another thing that a big body could do for you. But in the playoffs, like most teams that you match up against, when Matt Rempe's on the other team, your coach is going, nobody fucking fight this guy, because he's probably going to beat you up because he's huge, but also, even if you win, you're a better hockey player than him, and now you're in the box and he's in the box. That's a net loss for us. Like, there's no reason to fight him. Like, last year, he had 17 games played, 71 penalty minutes. In the playoffs, 11 games played, 10 penalty minutes. Nobody would fight him, because why would you?
Like, exactly, right? Like, it doesn't provide any value to fight him. Like, unless he goes out there and, runs a guy from behind, which he can't because he's not fast enough to keep up to the play to get the opportunity to. So, there's no reason for anyone to fight him. And if he's not fighting, again, he doesn't provide value to the Rangers. So,
And there
and I
was
think
even
they've
one
realized that now.
instance. There was even one instance last season. I can't remember if it was playoffs or regular season, but Rempe did lay a pretty nasty hit on a guy, kind of from behind, just kind of smushed him into the boards. It wasn't like horrendous, but it was reckless. Um, and the other team went out the next face-off and fought Truba because they still don't want to fight Rempe. They're like, all right, fine, we'll go find somebody else. We'll stand up for our guy by fighting, but we'll just go fight somebody else because who wants to drop gloves with Meathead, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, well,
so
exactly, right?
it makes sense. Uh, I think he got stuck around a good bit longer because I think he scored on his first shot in the NHL. That was his one goal. Um, he'll be back for sure. And like you said, he's literally 22 years old. He was born mid-year in 2002. So like if he does end up working on his game and could be a massive body and do that stuff, like I could see him being a mainstay on a fourth or potentially third line if he really brings it back. But for what
100%, yeah.
for what he's doing right now, yeah, it makes sense. Like you don't
You
need
just got to
Rem.
focus on everything else aside from fighting. Like you're big enough. You
Yeah,
don't need to be worrying about doing these things in fights. Like you're a big fucking dude. You're going to be able to fight. Like
yeah.
that's literally what you're good for because you're big. Now work on
Practice punching
everything
downward.
else.
Yeah,
Like work on everything else within your game. And yeah, you could have a very long career kind of being a fourth line grinder type guy. But if you're not putting in the work on the rest of the game, yeah, you're probably not going to get too many other looks. So
yeah. Fighting isn't that valuable in the first like 50 games of the season. Like there's a couple grudge matches, but like uh how much are you really helping out your team getting
yeah,
into a fight in the second period of game 18 in the season? Like it
exactly.
that's why he's going down. But
Yeah.
anyway, we got a couple other pieces of news that we will get to here. Starting with Shea Theodore gets a big extension from Vegas, 7 years at 7.4 mil. Uh, this
It's a
is
good
great.
deal. It's a
This is
great
great for
contract.
Vegas.
Yeah.
It's
But
so annoying when teams you don't like get great deals. Like,
But the thing is like I did say to you before we hopped on here, Vegas's entire like they're locked up with their core, right? Like the guys they got, that's kind of what they have to roll with. They're at the point now where their depth isn't as good as it was, so you don't have the luxury of being like, oh, so and so took a little bump, time to go to LTIR and hang out in Hawaii for 2 months and then come back for the playoffs. Like you got to roll with your guys now. Like your core that you have, that's it. You don't have a whole lot of money to add in elsewhere. You kind of just have to ride it out with who you got and try to make it work. But like, yeah, this extent, like all their deals are looking really good for the most part that they got, and this one just it continues to add to it of long term deals that are at a very reasonable cap hit. So this is another, just huge win for Vegas.
yeah, like they've got Petrangelo locked up for 3 more years, and then on top of that, for 7.35 and 7.425, they've got Hannafin and Theodore both locked up till 2032. That's that's massive value. Both of those guys for less than 7.5 for the next 8 years, like 7 years, I suppose. Like man, that's real nice for them. But yeah, they got a couple of guys really tying up some big money. I guess this Jack Eichel deal is that's probably from when he was in Buffalo, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
That'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Like I can't I forgot he got paid 10 mil while in Buffalo. Like is he get a pay increase?
Um,
Like probably, but
eh,
like
eh. It's so tough to say because what he's still got 2 years
Nylander money
left
maybe?
after this one. So like this year he's off to a really hot start. So if he continues, for the remainder of this contract or up until he's eligible for an extension at the level he's at right now, probably.
Yeah,
But,
next July.
Going into this season, if it was like he was eligible and it was like looking at what he's done the past couple years, probably not. Like the last couple years, I don't think he's worth more than 10, like maybe staying at 10. But going into this year, like I wouldn't have given him
He was like
a an increase.
top 3, at least top 5 player for them in the playoffs, though, when they won the cup.
Yeah.
Then again, their Conn Smythe winner walked.
Yeah, exactly.
He
Right? The
wanted to
Conn
stay,
Smythe winner, they
but
shoved him out the door and said, "We don't want you." So,
number 1 center, they'll pay for him. I just wonder what he
like
wants.
up until this year, really, been. He had one season where he's 5 points above a point per game, and the other 2 he was under a point per game. So, does an average so far at Vegas, a 78 to 80 point guy, does that deserve more than 10 mil? No, in no world does it. But again, he's gotten off to a very hot start this year, and if he continues that, yeah, he probably does end up getting a little bit of a pay increase from Vegas. So
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Some of these guys, they signed those massive, those 7 or 8 year deals, and you just kind of forget that eventually they do expire. Like, unless it's on your team, like you just like don't keep track of it until all of a sudden it's like, oh, Connor McDavid could extend next offseason. Like,
yeah,
so we'll see what he wants next July, I suppose. But moving on from Vegas, Jake Neighbors also signed a contract extension in the last few days. 2-year extension, 3.75 cap hit, RFA at the end of it. What do you think? What are your thoughts on this?
I think it's a good deal. I think it's a nice little bridge deal for both sides to kind of just ride it out until he gets a bigger deal. But like the way he's performing right now, yeah, I really like it for St. Louis actually.
Yeah, if they think they can, make a legit run at something in the next 2 years, that'll be good. That leaves them with plenty of room, but having him as an RFA at the end is so nice for them.
It really is.
I think they're gonna end up getting him for 8 once this expires, which he will be
I
25
think
at that
so.
time.
I would agree with you on that. Yeah.
Which one do we want to talk about next? We got 2
Well,
main ones.
this isn't really a main one. But Sergei Bobrovsky, I believe the 14th goalie in league history
I
to
think I
reach
saw that.
400 career wins. So, I mean, again, like you not much to say about it, but like obviously, congrats to Sergei Bobrovsky on what has already been a Hall of Fame career in my eyes, and just continues
Oh
to
yeah.
add to it going forward.
Yep. He's been incredible, and also I saw the fastest goalie to 400 wins in NHL history,
Oh, really?
and that blew my freaking mind, dude. This guy played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years in Columbus. How?
Yeah.
How did Lundqvist not get there in less games? How did Fleury? Some of these guys who were with teams that were perennial contenders for so long, like that seems wild. But yeah, dude, the team wins all the time when he's in the net specifically, so makes sense.
Yeah. So before we go into the last thing, maybe we'll just kind of save that one more towards for the end. We'll kind of go through all of the stuff in the NHL before we go to more kind of still kind of NHL stuff, but more so outside of actual NHL play.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to say my piece, and then we are going to walk away from it, and we are going to wipe this away until until I see fit. Until I make the decision.
Wait, so I don't get to...
You don't get a say in this. No.
I don't
This is
even
all
get
me.
to put my words in there?
No, you'll get to put your words in, but once the topic is done, we are wiping them. We are wiping them from existence on this podcast moving forward. The San Jose Sharks. They are the first team to go winless in their first 7 games in back-to-back seasons since the California Golden Seals in the 1970-71 and 1971-72 season. They just lost again tonight. They have lost 8 in a row. This is a fucking embarrassing team. It is a bad team. There's no character. It is a
they're missing
lifeless, wet glob of shit. And straight up watching the games is utterly painful. As a Sharks fan, I will admit it is utterly painful. Yeah, it's just a fucking horrendous team. And I was on the train of, because I saw a lot of Sharks fans saying like, oh, you know, this team realistically could have a chance to contend for, you know, maybe push for a wild card spot. I'm like, all right, let's pump the brakes, right?
No, I didn't hear anybody saying that. I'm sure there were people.
But no, like not
crazy,
people like Sharks fans, like not people like straight up Sharks fans were saying that. Like they're like, looking at this roster, I could see it. No, but I will admit, I was on the side of the rebuild is further along than people think.
Yeah,
like people think, you know, you're looking at 2027 to 2028, they're pushing for wild card spot. No, by then they're probably back in the playoffs by then, I think. But right now they're fucking bad. And you can make the argument, okay, yeah, Celebrini's injured. I don't give a shit. Like, he's first overall, great player. But if you're sitting there being like, oh, this team's only shit because an 18-year-old's not playing, no. Like, even if he was playing, okay, there may be 2-5, 5-1. Like,
but 2-5, I would say is good for the Sharks. Like, we're expecting them to be either 31 or 32 this year, right? So like,
but even still, then they're still a bottom 3 team. Like they're still a
but I
bad
think that's
team.
The expectation. They're just somehow below that expectation at the moment. But like, for my money, Celebrini's all like. We got to see one game, so I hesitate because they have Toffoli, but he might be their best player right freaking now. So
I would still give the edge to Willie Eklund. I think Eklund is such a underrated player. In my mind, yes.
Hey,
I think all the
catch as many games as I can, but I love that.
I think all the tools are there for him. I think it's now just a matter of, you know, he's going out there trying to just generate offense for like the entire team, basically. Right? Yeah. You've only got really 3 guys in my mind that generate offense. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this. In the AHL, the San Jose Barracuda is a million times more of an entertaining hockey team to watch than the Sharks right now. So the last thing I'll say is this.
That's fair.
The San Jose Sharks are officially banned and wiped from this podcast until they win 1 game. So until they win a game, I'm not talking about them. They don't exist in this world that we are in right now until this team wins a game, because it's just so embarrassing. Okay. It's just so embarrassing to watch them be like, man, this is this is supposed to be a team in the NHL. Like, how many teams have we seen in a rebuilding phase in the last, 20 years? I can't even think of one team that is anywhere near as pitiful as this one.
There's a few that are close. I don't,
but nothing at this level.
I think there are a few at this level. I think for one season, there's a couple. I don't remember the exact years, but I think it was the 2017 Avs were horrendous. And then I think it's the 2019 Red Wings were really freaking bad. and then they dropped, I
Yeah,
think,
they
2
still
spots
wiped the
in the
Sharks team though.
draft.
They
Yeah.
they just oh man, they dunk on this team so bad. Yeah.
I would like to put a caveat on our ban. I would like to put one thing on there, and that
Okay.
is if Jake Wallman gets a game-winning goal and hits a gritty, I want to talk about it. Just the gritty. Just mention
Yeah,
it.
you know what? Yeah. Yeah.
Because
I could get on
that's
board with
fun.
that. I could get on board with that.
That's about it.
I can 100%
And you know
get
what? I
on
mean,
board with that.
if he gets a game-winning goal, that means they won a game. So I guess it makes sense.
That's true. That is
There
true.
we go.
Um,
All they need is a defenseman to gritty on them after winning the game.
I will say though, I do still dearly love the Sharks. Like that is why I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
why I'm more critical than more people because it's like, man, like again, I'm not expecting them to be a good team, but it's like, not even looking at the
A
numbers.
little progress.
If you just watch the team, you're sitting there like holy shit. Like they had again, in my opinion, not even being biased, I think they had the best offseason in the entire league. I mean
I would
Nashville
say
is definitely up there,
I was gonna
but
say
in my
Nashville is
opinion,
really at least top 3. Like I don't think
Nash
there's many people out having them outside top 3 or top 5. Like it was a really
Nashville
good offseason.
was number 1 for me until the Askarov trade. So that bumps San Jose up and that drops Nashville down a bit. And so I give San Jose the slight edge in terms of the best offseason
That's
because of
fair.
that move there. So I mean, I just expected better. But again, look at them. San Jose's 32nd in the league. Nashville's 31. So fuck, did they really have that good of an offseason? Who knows?
We'll see.
But moving from
I will just throw out they have had a relatively tough schedule so far. The Blues have been good. I mean, the Stars, I mean, put it in the L column. The Jets, the Avs, the Kings. Obviously they'd have faced the Ducks twice and the Blackhawks once. Those are the games where you want at least one win. But
and they get to go. I believe they're playing Vegas on Saturday. So
yeah. Yeah, they're playing Vegas.
there's also that.
Tomorrow, by the looks of
That's
it.
fun. Well, technically Saturday.
Oh, okay. It just says tomorrow instead of the date, so I don't know what
Oh,
time zone the schedule is here, but
yeah.
yeah, hopefully they can beat one of these teams coming up.
Just one win. Just one win.
It'd be
That's
nice.
literally all I want.
Win a game. Do you think they win a game first, or do you think Winnipeg loses a game first?
So I was just about to say we're gonna move from the bottom to the top, from 32nd up to first. I will first start off with hands are up in the air. I was wrong. Winnipeg went 7-0. And I said no team is getting beyond 6-0, and Winnipeg got to 7-0 tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Winnipeg loses before San Jose wins. That's not a diss on Winnipeg. It's really just how bad San Jose is right now.
Which is so crazy because they were so close on that first game too.
They were up 4-1. They had no business losing that first game. Then as soon as they did, it was like the team was just like, all right, season's over. Packing in. It's like fuck. Game 1 and you're losing, you're packing it in. Like, but man, Winnipeg's been good. Winnipeg has looked they've looked so solid, man. I mean, you look at a bunch of the teams at the top, like, yeah. Like they're not only are they getting incredible goaltend, like Hellebuck's well on his way. He's as the early favorite again for the Vezina, but it's like the team's scoring too. Like I can't point at a thing wrong with this team right now. Like it's a good team. From top to bottom, I mean, you're getting the good goaltending from Hellebuck. Ehlers is having kind of contract year. We love talking about that. Ehlers is having a monster start to the year. What did he have tonight? Okay, so he just had the overtime winner. So again, he's up to 9 points, 7 games. Cole Perfetti's looking good. Scheifele, Morrissey, Kyle Connor, like The team's just rolling. Love it for him.
Yeah, they look insane. And Tampa Bay played the team right behind him in the standings, Minnesota, tonight. Holy crap. Their coach should be in the running for the Jack Adams right now. It's early for that, but their defensive system is suffocating. We tried all kinds of line combinations, all kinds of stuff. Tampa looked good in the game. They just were getting suffocated by this neutral zone. I don't know if it's a trap necessarily, but you couldn't take the zone, man. We just couldn't get any quality opportunities. So they look nasty, and with two very solid goalies backstopping them as well, and a really high goaltending prospect, yeah, they look like they could do a lot more damage than we gave them credit for. We gave them credit for it early in the offseason, and then we made our season predictions and pushed them to the side. So,
not to mention, they're doing it without
up.
their captain, Jared Spurgeon.
Yeah, true.
So I'm gonna ask you just off the cuff, off the top of your head, what is your top 3 in your power rankings? Top 3 teams so far this season.
Jets has to be 1. They're 7-0. Doesn't get better than that in 7 games. The Stars are right there, but I think both their losses have been in regulation. So I'm gonna say,
and they lost to fucking Buffalo.
You know what? That actually is a big part of it. So you know what?
That's huge. That's huge.
Say, just because they did lose in regulation tonight, they're gonna go 3rd. So I'm gonna say Jets 1, Minnesota 2, Calgary Flames 3.
Ooh, throwing the Flames in there. I like that.
Yeah,
my one and
the
two.
The Flames could easily be replaced by the Rangers, I suppose. But the Flames are looking magical right now.
Yeah. Well, I was at the game tonight against Carolina, and yeah, it was a bad game for the Flames. It really was. But again, it's that's to be expected, right? We can't be in the mindset now of being oh, the Flames are a top team in the West. What a horrible showing. It's a team that people are projecting to be in the bottom 5 going up against Carolina.
I think I had them below the Ducks.
You did. Yeah. So, again, not a great game for Calgary, but at the same time, we can't just put these unrealistic expectations on them all of a sudden. For my 1 and 2 is the same as you, Winnipeg, Minnesota. My number 3, Washington. The Washington Capitals, 5-1 right now, plus 8 goal differential. I mean, they've looked good so far, and the moves that they made in the offseason are they're working for them. You lose to New Jersey, but you beat Vegas, you beat Dallas in regulation as well. You beat the Devils, and then you do get 2 back-to-back wins against the Flyers. But
who we have as bubble playoff contenders, the Golden
I didn't have
Knights,
them
the
even
Stars
sniffing the playoffs really. Well, I had them kind of in the mix, but I was they're at the bottom of the team sniffing the mix.
Yeah, they're hovering around it kind of, but
yeah,
beating the Golden Knights, the Stars, and the Devils, most people, for them, those 3 are locks for the playoffs.
Yeah,
beating those teams, that's really solid. And I definitely thought the Cap. I think we both had them 7th in the Metro.
Yeah,
they're going off lately, and I'm looking at their history and their schedule. I'm noticing that upcoming they have a game against the Lightning, so hopefully they cool off a bit for that. But yeah, they've looked really good to start the year. Connor McMichael especially has really come into his own.
Connor in the league
more. So far. Until Connor Geekie puts one in the back of the net.
Yeah. When's he gonna do that? Because you mentioned a couple days ago, you're now's his time. He's ready, and it's no.
I mean,
He's got to be due though. Like he's had opportunities. He's
he's
been
so
buzzing
due.
around the net. He's got to tuck it eventually.
I don't think normally he would be this frustrated after what has he played in? What have we played? 7 games. I don't think normally he would be that annoyed that he doesn't have a goal yet. But it's the fact that in the last 2 games, especially, he's had a lot of really good chances. And one of them was like a backdoor tap in, but it was going real fast. It just went weird off his stick and went wide. He had a one timer tonight, a beautiful one timer. He looked freaking elite out there. And he rang it off the crossbar. Goalie was down. Like, he just needed to go top half of the net. And he hit it off the crossbar. Like, he's had chances, and that's why he's pissed. But
Yeah.
it's Hagel and Sorelli are playing fucking possessed. Oh my god. So if he stays on that line, he's going to score in no time. And you can see it. Hagel is such a sentimental guy. He wants to be a part of that goal as well. He scored the goal that Geeky assisted on to get his first NHL point, and instead of selling, he immediately like dolphin dove through Jake Allen's legs to go grab the puck. Like,
So I'm going to throw this out to you because you're the Tampa fan.
all
You're
right.
the I don't know. I was gonna say, but I decided not to. I went against my better judgment.
Fair enough.
But you are a massive Tampa fan, as everybody knows.
I have a guess for this.
I believe this. This is my personal belief, so I'm going to ask you this to see if you agree. Tampa Bay won the Sergachev trade early on. So far, Tampa Bay is the winner of the trade.
So far, yes, it looks like it.
Nice.
Like, Moser has looked so much better. Like, I thought Moser was a bit younger. I thought he was like a bit more of not a prospect, but I thought it was going to take a couple more years. Dude looks great out there. He's been playing with Hedman almost the entire season, and like he looks like one of the best defensive pairings that Hedman's had like ever. Really, like he looks great. He knows when to jump into the play and when to stay back. He's made a couple of mistakes, kind of like young guy mistakes, but nothing too bad. Like, he looks great. Geeky is, if he keeps playing like this, even though he hasn't put up the points yet, he's going to be stapled on that second line, and there's going to be there's no way anybody else is sneaking into that top 6 now. Like, that'll be locked up. Like,
especially with Connor Shear on waivers.
Yes, Connor Shear, who did clear waivers. Holy crap.
I thought the team that shall not be named, I thought they were going to grab him. I really did.
And I thought you would be so annoyed.
Did.
I was wondering if it would happen just because, like, you were already saying, like, why get Goodrow there? They got too many guys. You don't need another bubble NHL player. I thought that Columbus might also grab him just to try and get closer to the cap floor and, just another body to play games. But yeah, we're paying him. He's only counting, I think, $850,000 against the cap now, which is better than his 2 mil. So it's better, I guess. Like, freaking Geeky took his spot in the lineup. Mitchell Chafee's looked better than him. Like, he's just not better than anyone who's playing for us now.
If it gets to the point where it's like you're not even a healthy scratch and being like 13th forward, it's like you actually just get put on waivers and sent to the AHL. It's like, you got some shit you gotta figure out.
Yeah, like
2-time Stanley Cup champ though is worth noting.
He's been great through his career. It's just with Tampa that he hasn't put it together. Like, I really don't know what it is. Like, in 16-17, 53 points in 61 games with the Penguins. He was knocking on the door of a point per game. And, like, the last few years, like, his last 2 years with the Capitals, 43 points, 37 points, 19 goals, 15 goals. And then he comes over and plays for us and 4 goals, 15 points, and just sad to watch. Like, yeah, I have no idea why it didn't work. Maybe there's injuries I don't know about. I know he did have a hand injury at one point, but yeah, so far the trade looks amazing for Tampa. I know a lot of
I
people.
do agree.
There were quite a few Tampa fans that were happy we got out because that July 1st, right before, uh, or the July 1st was just after the trade. That's when Sergachev, Sorelli, and Chernak, all of them signed their extension at the same time. That's when all of their no move clauses kicked in. And so I thought they were going to be moving Chernak because of that, but no, they moved Sergachev, and a lot of people didn't love Sergachev's contract. I think it's still fine, but
I hate the contract.
like I don't love losing Sergachev, even with the contract. But what we got back is better than I thought it would be, and much sooner than I thought as well.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I completely agree with you there. I think obviously with trades like these, especially with how young these guys are, it's a trade that we could talk about for the next at least 5 years, right? But early on, yeah, I not to say that it's a bad trade for Utah. I think Sergachev has been great for Utah. It's a trade that it's been really good for both teams. I just like it more for Tampa early on, just seeing what Moser's provided as well as Geeky. It's really it's the 2-for-1, right? It's like, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
Utah's got one guy playing really good, but it's like, okay, Tampa's got two guys playing really good. You take the two over the one all the time.
yeah, and in way bigger roles than I think anyone expected. I think a lot of people thought Moser would probably be on that second pairing, maybe third, because they did bring in McDonough, but no, he's been on that first pair. And
You
Geeky,
called it though. You did say first pair form probably because you knew. I mean, you did a kind of the insider information, but you knew that McDonough and Chernak
yeah, those two,
were going to be put back together. Like that's the whole reason they kind of brought McDonough back was to give Sergachev or
yeah,
Chernak his
his
kind of
guy.
stable partner that
And
helped him reach the
best
peak of
Chernak's
his
looked in
playing
4
career.
years. Like
Yeah.
immediately he's back to that guy. Like I don't know what they do together in the locker room or what, but like he just plays so much better with McDonough out there. They just get it. Like it's so fun to watch. But like,
Um
yeah, they're just way higher in the lineup as well, which is huge. Geeky, we thought would probably be in the AHL for another year, and he made the team, and now he's in the top six. So, but I
yeah, you
think
know what? Yeah.
Sergachev is still going to be great for Utah. So, you know, if you can ignore how well it works for us, you can still be very happy with your defenseman.
Yeah. Um yeah, is there any other teams you kind of want to talk about? Like we talked about, I mean, Nashville got a win. Good for them. They're still trying to claw themselves out. Uh,
Yeah, a
we already
shutout
talked
win.
about the dumpster team. Oh, Detroit. We ought to talk about Detroit. So they won on Tuesday during the Frozen Frenzy. They were outshot like what 30-10 and got a 1-0 win somehow. Tonight they beat the New Jersey Devils 5-3, despite getting outshot 40-20. Another game where they get doubled in shots and they find a way to win.
I did not have
What are your
gold.
thoughts?
I There isn't a universe where I had the Red Wings winning games constantly by being bailed out by their goalies on my bingo card. That is not what I expected from this team. Like, uh, yeah, it's crazy that the way they're winning these games, especially against like a Devils team that is really good offensively. Like, it kind of looked like Tampa spanked them the other day, but the final score was 8-5. They still put up 5 goals. So to keep them to
This
3 and score 5 with also scoring 5 goals on 20 shots. Really tidy work by the Wings, but
is also New Jersey's first game having their full proper defense core in place as both Brett Pesce and Luke Hughes came back into the lineup tonight. Unfortunately, wasn't enough for them. They dropped to 5-4-1. Like, so I mean, again, Good on Buffalo. You beat Dallas. But Buffalo to start the year, really not good. So you take away those 2 wins, like, since coming off that back-to-back against Buffalo, they're 3-4-1. Like, this New Jersey team should be doing much better than what we're seeing right now, I feel like.
Yeah, and like
I don't know what it is though. Like, I'm looking at this team and I can't be like, "Oh, here's the issue." Like, here I'm like, I can't figure it out. Like, is it an entire, you know, team thing? Unfortunately, I don't have the luxury of knowing any, diehard New Jersey fans to be like, "Hey, can you tell me, what the issue is?" Uh, their
they
top
look
2.
so good in the offensive zone. I think
Yeah.
I it really is a kind of similar to Tampa right now, a team defense issue, and they just got to clean it up. And when it's not one guy making all these mistakes, right, or a couple guys.
Mhm.
It's like overall breakdowns of plays. I think like we're only 10 games in for them, but like is it a coaching issue? Like there's no way Sheldon keeps getting fired this early, or probably not even this season, but like it they don't look great in their own zone.
I mean,
So,
what did I say? I said it when Sheldon Keefe was hired with New Jersey. I said he's not the coach for New Jersey
you know what?
because
They
New
are playing
Jersey's
Toronto hockey right
they're
now.
playing Toronto hockey. They're playing, let's go out there and just try and outscore the other team. Let's just go out there and try and win a 7-6 game despite us going out and grabbing, Jake Allen, Jacob Markstrom, which, is probably it's at least top 10 in terms of your starter backup. If you want to
Yeah.
make the argument for top 5, I'll hear you out on it. I may not agree, but I'll at least hear you out on it. Like, it's the same thing with Toronto though. You go to New Jersey, you have a kind of a similar built team with the studs up front, but you have a way better, well-rounded team. I said Sheldon Keefe is not necessarily the coach that you want. I think a Tom McClellan would have been perfect because he would go in there and be like, "All right, let's focus on, no one. No one's going to be like a Barry Trotz, but Tom McClellan was at least like, you know, we're going to figure out our defensive zone. We're going to work on that. We're going to lock down how we play on our own end, and you guys know what to do in the offensive zone. You guys already know how to
You don't
score the
need to
goals
tell
and put up
Jack
the
Hughes how to put
points."
up points. Yeah.
Exactly.
You don't
So
have
it's
to
like,
coach that.
figure shit out in your own end, and then you're going to be spending way less time in your own end, and you're going to have way more time in the offensive zone where you guys can fuck around and do what you do and score goals. Coaches don't need to tell these guys how to put up points. But when you're spending so much time in your own end, I mean, it's tough. Again, I New Jersey is still a playoff team in my mind. They still make it, but it's like, how
Yeah.
how deep can they go in the playoffs playing this style? I don't think very deep.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think they got stuff they got to
They
work
got to
out in
shore it
their
up
own zone.
defensively
Yeah.
because it's not even a physicality thing anymore. Uh, up, they were actually like I was kind of sitting there watching the game against the Devils with the Lightning, and I was kind of thinking, man, this team. Everyone kind of called them soft a few years ago. They're kind of beating the shit out of us right now. They had a lot of big hits, and then all of a sudden, you could tell on the bench, Chernak was told by Cooper, go fucking lay somebody out because he laid a huge hit in the corner on somebody. And then after that, Bratt was coming around behind the net and just got leveled. Just Chernak put his shoulder through his chest and just dropped him. And that just like turned momentum of the game. But like from there, then on in the game, the Devils just like their defense got even worse. They were just so bad in their own zone. Hagel
Mhm.
immediately after that hit put up a natural hat trick in like 5.5 minutes. The Devils' power play every time they were out there were dangerous as hell. They are really good on the power play, especially with Dougie Hamilton, which they didn't get the luxury of last year very much. But yeah, They got to figure something out defensively. Like, it really is just that. Because their
Yeah, I'm right
goaltending's
there
been
with you.
solid too. It's just like, how many high danger chances can your goalie save before they let him in?
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I mean, yeah, can't argue. Can't argue with you on that one.
but
Any other teams you want to
other
talk about before
teams.
we go into our final little segment here?
Um,
I've already kind
you know,
of talked
this
about the
kind of
teams that I'm really high, the teams I'm low on. So
this looks interesting here on the standings, so I'm going to point it out. They do have the same exact record, but whatever the tiebreaker is, I want to say it's goal differential. Um, the Buffalo Sabres are sitting right on top of the Boston Bruins in the Atlantic Division. They both have 7 points in 8 games played. The Sabres are on a 2-game win streak. The Bruins are on a 3-game loss streak. The Sabres are starting to claw back, and the Bruins are falling.
yeah, I mean, you talk about it every year. Like the Bruins are on a 3-game losing streak right now. You kind of talk about it, and you're like, every year you're like, all right, this is the year the Bruins missed. This is the year, and it's like this was the one year where you said it. I'm like, how? They were so good last year, and it's like I think everybody was in the mindset of they got better going into next year. Um, I can't even sit here and be like, oh, this is the issue with the team. Well, actually, you know what? Yeah, here's your fucking issue. Your top 3 point scorers is your fourth line.
Yeah.
That's your issue right there. Your top guys aren't going out there and getting it done. Everybody's getting points. Like you've really only got Morgan Geeky, who's really kind of the only guy that's played all of their games basically, and doesn't have a point. Like everybody's scoring, but it's like your fourth line is racking up the points, which is good. Like that's awesome that you've got a fourth line that just is clicking, and it's consisted of young guys. So it's like you can run with that fourth line, just you know have it be a new identity line, kind of like what the Islanders had that was so effective for years. But you need your top guys to start producing.
Like,
So
there were
eh,
people were saying, like, he was a dark horse, but he was in the conversation. People were saying Pasternak for Hart this year. You you got to be putting up more points than Cole Koepke.
yeah,
Like, sure, it's only the
hundred
first 8
percent.
games of the season, but you're Pasternak, and he's playing 10 minutes at most a night.
Yeah,
So we'll see what happens, because it looks like the Bruins' next game is, of course, against the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are also on a 2-game losing streak. So we'll see which one of them breaks their streak and gets a win. But yeah, there's a couple of teams doing kind of weird stuff to start the year here. Yeah. Um, Also, one thing that we did both get correct uh, during the Frozen Frenzy, we both, for whatever reason, were very confident Toronto's going to get the crap beat out of them by Columbus. And
yeah,
I think the final score was 6-2. Like,
yeah. Blue Jackets smoked them.
as soon as the Leafs looked really good in one game, it was like, all right. And look, their next game's against Columbus. For whatever reason, they're going to get shelled. Don't know why. We just know that's how it's going to be.
With the Frozen Frenzy, is worth noting, we both went 11-5. So props to us for
Hey, nice. That's pretty good.
um doing very good there. Uh, you did win, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You suckered me into the dumbest tiebreaker of all tiebreakers. That being the Ducks versus the team that shall not be named still. Um, the Ducks ended up winning that game, which we
The
decided if we
California
were
Hockey
tied,
Club.
yeah, if the Golden Seals, they're basically as good as them. Yeah, the tiebreaker was that game. If it looked like we were going to be tied, which we were, So yeah, props to
Yeah,
you again for beating me. I will get
I
my
gotta start
win
getting something for winning
eventually.
these.
Yeah, man, you bet. Yeah, yeah.
I need to
I'm
be
in a
putting
slump.
stakes on these.
Hey, you know what? If you threw it on the table and threw out some stakes, I probably would have agreed. So
Probably
that's on you, my friend. That's on you.
it is. Well,
Um,
next one, we're gonna think of something.
but I will tip my cap and congratulate you for that being the winner of the 2024 Frozen Frenzy. Well done. Well done, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
Well earned. So to wrap it up, Four Nations face off. We have the official jerseys released to us for Canada, the United States, Sweden, and Finland, the four teams participating in this tournament in February. What are your thoughts?
I think there's a clear number one jersey here, in my opinion.
It better be okay. I agree, and I won't even debate it. There is a clear number one, and it's not up for debate. So I hope we're on the same mindset here.
Uh, it's got to be Team Sweden. Team
Okay.
Sweden's
Yeah.
jersey looks so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What would you
It
rank them though? What would you rank them from like 1 to 4?
so
Like
obviously
Sweden is
Sweden
obviously
won.
number 1. What would you throw in the
Oh,
2?
it's honestly there's not
I think
much.
there's a clear 2. I really do. I do think there is a clear 1 and 2. You
I
can't
think
interchange them, but there's a clear
probably
1 and 2.
Canada, probably Canada too.
I would agree, yeah. It's just it's got a little bit more to it than the other
The
one.
stripes have give it a bit more, and then I'd probably go America and then Finland. Uh,
Yeah,
the
that's how I mine.
basically the one thing I don't like about Finland's is it right below their team name, the little logo. It's so zoomed out, and I can't tell what that logo is. It almost looks like an RBC logo. It looks like a giant ad right in the middle.
Okay, because that's kind of what I thought and looked at. Like, I mean, Canada's it's just new. You know, this US one, I feel like when I'm looking, I'm like, really kind of almost
Make it a
all
little.
uh Sweden, Finland, and US. It just I mean, Sweden's just is so clean. Like Sweden never has bad ones, right?
Yeah.
So they can get away with it. But with those three, I look at them like it feels like the jerseys that they just wear during the World Juniors. Like
Yeah.
Canada's is like we've never seen a Canada one like this, where it's got the stripes in the middle that go along with the arms. You've got the maple leaf, but you've kind of got Canada and the little dip down in it going throughout the maple leaf. Like that's new. This Sweden one, I feel like we've seen before, but again, Sweden can't put out a bad jersey, but the
You know,
US and Finland,
honestly, I'd
it
put Finland
feels like you
above
could
America now that I'm looking longer.
and I wouldn't blame you. Like to me, neither one of them are good. They feel like they're a jersey that they basically just said, "Hey, we're grabbing them from the World Junior team after the tournament, and you're gonna wear them during this." It's I don't like them. They're just bland. And
Finland's
obviously,
at
I
least
think
looks
there's
like a jersey. Like honestly, the
yeah,
American one, maybe it's just the pose Matthews is doing. He doesn't have gloves or a stick with him, but like imagine it like the all it has going is the two stripes on the arms. Take those away, and it looks like he's wearing a sweatshirt.
yeah.
Like it just kind of looks like he's wearing like a college sweatshirt, you know?
It actually it's not a jersey you can really just kind of wear. Like if they release the jerseys and they're like, "Hey, come and buy them and wear them to the tournament," I'd feel a whole lot cooler wearing any of the other 3 before the US one because I agree. Yeah, it's actually it's pretty shit. It's pretty bad.
Do you have any thoughts on the people they picked to model these jerseys as well? For those who haven't seen the pictures of the jerseys and the modeling, Hedman is wearing the Victor Hedman is wearing the Sweden one. Austin Matthews is wearing the U.S. For Finland, it's Sebastian Aho, and that is that John Tavares or is that Crosby for Canada?
Crosby.
Okay, I kind of thought it was Tavares, not gonna lie. It's just zoomed out enough that they got similar face shape.
Um, I've got no issue. I think maybe because of the injury, I would have liked to see Barkov doing the Finland one.
That was
I think it would have been
that
the
was a big thing
perfect
for me.
time to do it.
Yeah.
Like he just just won the cup and whatnot. Like he's the face of hockey in Finland in my eyes. I think he would have been the perfect guy to go with. But in terms of like you know Sweden again, you could have chosen so many guys, but I like that they went the route of choosing a defenseman. And Victor Edmond, I think, is the perfect choice to go with. And then, I mean, yeah, like Crosby and Matthews,
Yeah.
it's
I did have gripes until I did realize that it was Crosby for Canada. I thought that was Tavares and they were just going the Toronto centric route. And I was like, why isn't it
oh yeah,
McDavid? And then all of a sudden it just clicked and I was like, oh, that's Crosby. So which also, like, you can't go wrong with either McDavid or Crosby.
yeah.
McDavid, who was named captain of this Canada team in the Four Nations face-off, to which
No,
to which
he
to
was
which
not
he
named captain.
was he not?
No, he was just asked about the sea.
Oh, I thought he was named captain because I did see that he said like without question it should be Crosby.
He was just asked about like who should be the captain
Oh, okay,
for it, and then he
okay,
was like, "Yeah, it should be Crosby." Yeah, no,
okay.
no,
I thought
they
he
didn't even
got it,
name
and then
the.
he was like, I shouldn't.
Yeah, no, they haven't even named the
Okay,
full rosters or anything yet for him. So,
okay,
but yeah, McDavid did say that. Yeah, it should be Crosby, which
yeah,
I agree
I
personally.
agree. But you know what? I bet you if you ask Crosby, he says this is McDavid's era. Like,
Yeah,
like, dude, if they had something like this in the NBA, the top stars would say, "Fuck yeah, I'm the man. Everyone else can eat shit." Like in the NFL, it's a lot of the same. In hockey, dude, everyone's gassing each other up. They're like, "Nah, man, these guys are all great." Like
yeah,
they're humble as hell. Except for when it's really funny when they're not.
yeah. Hockey players, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think you can go the wrong route of choosing Crosby McDavid. Just the part of me, uh, kind of growing up watching Crosby. I'd like to see him wear the C and represent Canada at least one more time. I don't know
Yeah,
if we'll get it, but the inner child within me is like, I want to see it one more time for Canada. Um, but again, yeah, like I think Sweden's jersey bangs, Canada's jersey bangs, uh, Finland, probably could have done better. And then
it's a little
the
bland, but it's
US,
fine.
it's just like fuck. You just got US in the middle, and then you've got two stripes on the arm. It's like, yeah,
People
kind of
love the
garbage to
Star
me.
Spangled Banner. Like, throw that on there. Throw red and white stripes going like across the jersey with like some like stars in there or something.
Or
Like,
even at the
yeah,
top, like the
yeah,
the
just
the
try some stuff.
shoulders.
You know?
You know how teams have like the kind of cut off from like the shoulders. They have like the different color at the top. Like just do some with that. Just have a bunch of stars on the shoulders. Just something to give it a little bit more character. It's just very bland, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Very basic.
Hell, yoink the crap out of the Rangers. Like, put the Statue of Liberty on there somewhere. You know, do something. Like,
That would be kind of sick.
it's a very blank jersey. At first, I didn't like Finland's because it has an extra logo there. But the more I look at it, at least it fills up the space.
Yeah, it's at least a little bit better. I agree.
Yeah.
I do agree with you on that. But that is the kind of review of the jerseys so far for the Four Nations face-offs as we await the official reveal of the entire roster for each country in this tournament. Um, Braden, anything else you would want to chat about before we get out of here and wrap this one up?
Um. You know what? We'll do this rather quickly. I'll cut you off if we're taking time, but I assume you've probably looked-ish and you know quite a few of the names, but I've just got the top 5 in points, the top 5 in goals for the season so far. Um, do you want to take a couple of guesses as some of the guys, we'll start with points, some of the names that are right up there for the leaders?
Well, I know Makar is up there. I'm pretty sure
Makar
he's
is not
actually
just up there;
one.
he's number 1, and by
Okay,
2
so he's
points.
still one.
There's a couple of guys at
Um,
13. He is at 15.
I know Panarin was up there at one point.
Panarin is also at 13.
McKinnon was up there. I don't know if he just dropped out, but I know he was up there like a day or two ago. I don't know after tonight where he stands. But I'm going to throw
He
McKinnon.
is. Hello? I must have missed him. He's on here somewhere. Okay, yes, he is at 13. I got down far enough that I saw Casey Middlestat, and I was like, okay, he's got to have more points than him.
After the night, Mark Stone. I know he's been up at the very top.
He's got 12 points. So you got Makar 1, and then one of the many people tied at 13. You said McKinnon, Panarin. Kaprizov is also there at 13 points.
Oh, Kaprizov. Yeah, he went off tonight. Yeah.
Mikko Rantanen, Sam Reinhart, and Nikita Kucherov.
Oh, Reinhart. Kucherov was going to be my next one. I wouldn't have gotten Reinhart. Kucherov was going to be my next one.
Yeah, all these guys have been balling out to start the year.
It's a good crowd there at the top.
Yeah. And it's really weird to look at because there's 2 guys that really stand out, specifically with their time on ice. Nikita Kucherov, Artemi Panarin. Both have played 7 games. Take a guess at their time on ice per game.
18 minutes.
18 and 7 seconds for Kucherov. 17 minutes and 2 seconds for Panarin. That feels low. Like Kuch was putting up 20, at least 20 minutes a night all last year.
Yeah, but there was no fucking depth on that Tampa team last year. At least now they at least have 2 solid top lines.
Yeah.
Whereas last year was like you kind of really had your top line in Tampa that was like, rest of the team just hold on until we can get these guys back out there.
Yeah. But like
that's impressive though that they're racking up points like that.
Malkin's the second center in Pittsburgh, and he's got half a minute on both Kucherov and a minute and a half on Panarin. Like, I don't know, those numbers just kind of jumped out as low to me. But
yeah, I wouldn't have. Yeah, I mean, I threw out that number. I didn't think they were going to be that low. I thought they were going to be maybe a little bit higher, but I mean, hey, good on them. They're balling out with the time that they're given.
Yeah. And then for goals, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players who have 6 or more goals.
Okay, well, Kucherov's up there.
Yeah, he has 8 goals in 7 games.
Oh, sorry, six goals and up.
Yeah, 6 or more.
6 or more. Okay, well, Cole Caulfield then, because I know he hit 6 the other night.
Yep, 6 in 7 games. 100% face-off rating for him on the year. He's 1-0.
Oh, Ross Colton, because he hit 6 the other night. Oh, he's at 7. Oh, so he must have scored again tonight.
Yep.
I'm gonna throw it out there. Panarin.
Yep, Panarin's got 6. And then I might just start giving them to you. These are hard names to list. I would not have guessed
hold on.
Let him cook.
How many more do I have left? 4 or 3?
1, 2, 3, 4.
I can at least get 2. I should be able to get 2.
All right.
I mean, fuck. I'm just gonna throw him out there because he had the hat trick, and then I know he at least had one goal. I'm gonna throw Brandon Hagel.
Hagel has 6 in 7 games.
Okay, so he does. I was gonna say because after that hat trick, I was like, I remember seeing I think that was his 5th or something. Did he score again tonight?
Yes, he did. He scored shorthanded.
Okay, so because I was gonna say, I remember kind of looking. I was like, I remember seeing he had 4 or something when he had the hat trick, in terms of on the season. Brantanen? No.
I
Oh,
don't know if any of these guys play on their top lines.
this guy's been balling out. Jordan Eberle.
Jordan Eberle has 6.
Yeah. No, he's on Seattle's first line.
He is. I don't know if any of the others
Yeah.
are. One of them might be.
Eberle's been a dog this season. The other two,
Uh,
I
3 more? No, just 2.
Nylander?
Oh, no, there is 3 more. No.
3 more?
Yeah.
Shit.
I can just give them to you because we don't want to be guessing for too
Yeah.
long. There's
Oh,
one that
well.
I think you would get eventually. But Nico Hischier has 7 goals on the season
Oh,
already.
Hischier. Yeah, he's been scoring a lot. Yeah.
58% on the dot as well is real nice.
Yeah.
Ross the Boss Colton.
I said Ross Colton.
Did you say Ross Colton? Okay,
Yeah,
then
he's
that's
like,
where
I
that's where
think he was like
you said 2.
my third guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, because I
understand.
knew Ross Cole was up there because I was shitting on him the other last episode, and then you mentioned what he was at in goals, and it shocked me.
Yeah, and the last one, Sam Bennett.
Hold on. Oh, Bennett. Oh, yeah. I was gonna throw out a
6
guess.
goals.
Wouldn't even been close. 6 goals for Benny. Hey, again, contract year. We love talking about guys in contract years that go off.
Sounds like he's in talks too. Sounds like they've already started.
They're gonna get him at such a good deal too because it's Florida.
It's so annoying, man.
They're
And
gonna
like
give him
I
at
know
such a
Tampa's
good
had
deal.
great deals for years, but like, do all of our rivals have to get them as well?
Yeah, it's a good deal for like they're gonna get him at a really good deal there
Yeah,
in
for
Florida.
Hagee and Reinhart locked in for freaking less than they should have. Like, thank God Barkov at least takes up double digits.
Yeah. That's a good start for Bennett though. I did not think he had that many goals already.
Yeah, 6 goals for 9 points in 9 games. Big -1.
Yeah. Yeah, well there we go. So I think that wraps up everything we got for this episode.
Yep.
Everything all wrapped up into one. We do thank all of you for tuning in to listening to yet another magnificent, fantastic episode of the Stick 'em Up podcast. If you want to join in on any of the hockey talk conversations or just banter with us, you can do so by clicking on the links in all of our episodes. It'll take you to any of our socials. You can throw us a follow, throw us a message, tag us, add us, whatever. Talk hockey with us. We reply to everything. And that's about it. Braden, one final thought, one final statement from you before we get out of here.
I don't know who's going to beat the Winnipeg Jets. They look good on all fronts.
I really don't know who's going to beat Winnipeg. Winnipeg is the top dog, top of the food chain right now. We look forward to seeing who, potentially, if any team can, take them down. We will keep an eye on that. But once again, we do thank all of you for tuning in. We hope you guys enjoyed. Enjoy all of the fantastic games going on this weekend, and we'll see you guys next week on Tuesday, usual time.